Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of War in the Pacific with the Focus Pacific mod. It is January 1st, 1942, the first day of 1942, and the rest of the war. Our action starts off today with troops unloading over beach 6172. So he's offloading at a non-base hex. We didn't establish that he had to land at base hexes in the rules. That is possibly something that we should have done, and we might need to clarify. But we'll discuss it. We'll talk about it. So I'm not exactly sure where this is. We're going to find out, though. Bouvier almost gets hit by ASW patrol. Already into the air phase, I was hoping that my subs would have some luck down near Buin and the Solomon Islands, but it doesn't look like it. Sweep over Singapore, and we have to figure out what that one Blenheim is doing right there. Chances are it was a damaged aircraft that then got repaired and then took to the sky, so we just have to move it out of the hex and change it to a different order so it doesn't try to defend Singapore. Betty's bombing here. Now, I don't have as much flak here in Bataan than I do at Clark Field or at Manila. So I'm going to take a little bit more damage. He's going to take a little less damage because of that. But at the same time, not a whole lot of value is at Bataan right now. I am building forts right there. But other than that, there's not a lot to defend, so I'm not too worried about it. So sweeps over Wincao. Over Singapore again. Then we have Icheng again. I could have sworn that I changed the orders of these Bregu's 697, BR697s to not be over this hex anymore, but it looks like they're still there. I'm going to have to double check my cap settings. In any case, they try to intercept some bombers. It looks like they make contact. They actually get through the Oscars and do down an Ida, so that's great news. Prevent our troops from taking losses. Once fighters get in among bombers, their effectiveness drastically degrades. Even if they still make it to the target, just the fact that the fighters intercepted them will decrease their effectiveness. Again, over Singapore, I'm surprised that one Blenheim is still alive, still flying. And he goes to bomb Singapore. Let's see how our anti-aircraft artillery does. Yeah, really no damage to us, really negligible. And Sally's damage, I would have liked to see more damage. The reason he's not being damaged more is he's coming in at 21,000 feet. That's both the reason that he's not taking the flak, it's probably above the ceiling of my anti-aircraft artillery, but it also means that his bombs are not going to be very effective. My BR697s intercept some more bombers, but there aren't enough of them to keep that long-range cap over the hex. It's pretty long range from where I have those based. I think they're up in Cyan. I'm going to have to double-check. But it's 7 hexes to this hex north of Icheng, so it's really on the limit of their range and their ability to perform that long-range cap mission, so they're not able to keep a lot of planes over that hex during the day. I just go in. Light bombers, I'm not worried about them. Now, he just swept Chongqing, and that could be a problem. Chongqing, I have a lot of aircraft there. I'm going to have to defend that hex. It's one of the few bases in China that has big enough airfields to handle the amount of planes that I have there, or in China, so that could be a problem if he sees that as a target. Some attacks north of Nanyang here, or near Cyan. Yeah, just north of Nanyang, between Sion and Nanyang, isn't really going to do much. Again, this is good terrain right in here, nice rough terrain, so he's not going to be able to do a lot of damage. Sally's again coming over Singapore, a very high altitude, and very ineffective because of that. Lilies go after my troops that are trying to run up here to these road hexes where they can start making some good time to other bases and pull back out of harm's way. I'm going to have to check to see if they've been mode knocked by this attack. Last turn they were. This bombing was knocking them from move mode into combat mode, so that's another thing I'll have to check. Some more bombing there. I really don't want to put any fighters and put any cap over them. They're just going to have to grin and bear this this aerial bombardment for now until I get them a little bit closer to my air bases. Again, he's going after, looks like the industry at Win Cow, going after the heavy industry. Again, I think that's short-sighted on his part. Every piece of heavy industry that he damages now is heavy industry that he's going to need to repair if he wants to get the supply later on after he captures the hex. So it's not what I would do, but in the short term, of course, it is going to prevent that heavy industry from generating supply for me. So I see why he's doing it. I've already set that heavy industry not to repair, so I'm not going to be paying any supply to repair it. He's going to have to do that when he takes the hex. Some lilies at Changsha. Not a lot to hit there. Catalina's again going in. I'm going to have to change their mission. They're really not having any effect now that those zeros are at Raval. S-23 Empires meeting with the same fate, losing planes and losing valuable planes too. Patrol aircraft don't come cheap. There's not a lot of them. They suffer high operational losses anyway, just being taken out by cap on the search roll, and just the range that they operate at is hard on the airframes and also creates a lot of fatigue for the pilots. So I'm going to need to scale back my naval attack roll with these planes for now until I can build up my pools at least. Again, this plucky Blenheim IF, which is the Blenheim IF is really a Blenheim bomber that's somehow converted to the fighter role, and it's terrible at it. It's not a good plane. I'm really surprised that it's still alive throughout the day. Going after Guam again, bombarding my runway, preventing me from building forts there. Not doing a lot of damage though, so that amount of damage my engineers in the hex can probably repair pretty easy. Again, some sweeps on Chungking. You'll see that one of my French patrol planes claims that they hit a Japanese sub. Veteran players will know that those hit reports for submarines are unfortunately mostly bogus. It does happen every so often, but most of those reports, especially I find early game, tend to be incorrect. So it's very doubtful that I actually managed to hit a submarine, especially because all of my patrol squadrons have very low experience in anti-submarine warfare. It's just going to take a long time throughout the game for them to build up that experience and actually start to get effective. Going after Manila, just one runway hit, not worried about it. Another attack on Guam. Going after Clark Field, it looks like. 16,000 feet, so I think that's a better altitude for him. It's enough that he's doing a little bit of damage. He's still getting damage with his planes, but it's not really in the thick of my flak, like if he was down at 10,000 feet or 9,000 feet. Again, a little bit of damage here on Bataan. I'm not really worried about these. It's not enough to really disrupt things, but it's a little bit a heavier turn, if you've noticed, than the ones we've had in the past. He's doing a little bit more bombing, being a little more active, so that's good. Catalinas, don't do it. You're not going to get through. And that looks like it for the air phase. We're on to the ground phase, and we have this deliberate attack by Hao Tao. Pretty overwhelming odds, 693 to 1. Yeah, and both of these units just evaporate. So most Chinese units automatically reappear back at Chongqing. We're going to check if that happens for these, or if we have to buy them out, essentially, or pay the political point cost to regenerate the units. When they regenerate that way, they really do with no squads, and we just have to fill those back in. But if they automatically come back after they've been destroyed, like some Chinese units do, they usually come back with squads already filled in, at least a little bit. We're going to see what happens here. I'm not sure. I don't know the details about China ground combat as much as I'd like to. But this is going to open up this road here, leading up to Kuchan. He can also get there down to Lanzhou. Lanzhou is a pretty important hex. We've got some good refineries there, supplying a lot of supply that's flowing down into southern China. So I already have some units moving this direction to try to put some blocking units in here, prevent those river crossings, but I'm going to have to dedicate a little bit more to it. But I have plenty at Cyan right now, so I think I can spare some LCUs to make that trip and prevent him from wreaking havoc up here in the north. Another attack at Guam. My base force is down to 0 AV. But man, his infantry division is trashed right now. I think that infantry division started at, when he first landed, 180, 200 AV, and it's down to 88. He really needs to rest those troops and get his AV back up. Good result for me. I destroy 17 of his combat squads, while I only get 1 destroyed. I do lose some vehicles and some guns, which is never good to see. It's funny that I show disruption for the negative when I'm pretty sure that he's suffering from a lot of disruption in his forces as well, just because of how pitiful those AV values looked on the combat screen. And that looks like it's another turn. Thank you for watching January 1st, 1942, and we'll see you in the Discord. Thank you so much.